warroomsports.com. Get that mobile app.
What's going on, basketball fans, and welcome to another edition of Court Vision. This is the Decision 2014 edition, brought to you, of course, by War Room Sports in conjunction with Sports Kings. I want to be your host. I'm Devin, and I got the homies at the table. I got B. Austin.
Yo, what y'all thought y'all wasn't going to see me? I'm the Osiris of this shit.
I got Frank from Sports Kings.
We have another NBA player confirmed listening to Drake. Isaiah Thomas signed with Phoenix today. He said, "All I wanted was to be wanted."
Tell him I said no 7th round. We got Jimmy the Blueprint.
Yo, I just want to say, make sure Android or iPhone, you look at that War Room Sports mobile app. You know what I'm saying? All the ladies got it. So the fellas, make sure you download it because your lady already got it.
So you
don't get the lady
keep track of what she's doing. So go ahead.
The lady version because this has our male calendar for ladies only.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, we're talking about the Decision 2014. LeBron James has chosen a team, but before we get into that, guys, do us a favor. On your little page somewhere, look for the little button that says subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you know when we're dropping another video. You can just come watch it. You don't have to hear from us in any of your social media inboxes. Make sure you click that like button on the video. Like I said last episode, that just makes us feel better if you click like on the video. And like we always tell you, go to sports-kings.com. For all your sports needs, football, basketball, baseball, whatever you need, they got it. Go to warroomsports.com. Go to WRSPN.com if you want to hear some great shows on our podcast network. And like Jimmy just showed you guys, man, get that mobile app. You need that mobile app. That's all I got to say. All right, fellas, LeBron is going back home to Ohio. He chose the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've been talking about this as the days have been building up. There was a while where, personally, I thought that this was impossible, that this couldn't happen. Any surprises here for you fellas?
Absolutely. I said there was a 100% chance out of 100 he wasn't going back. That was definitely wrong.
I mean, I was only surprised in the, from the past couple of days I thought he was going to Cleveland, but prior to that I'm absolutely surprised. I mean, I thought when the offseason started he would definitely – I thought he was going to opt in, to be honest. I didn't think he would even opt out of his deal. So, I mean, I'm definitely surprised that he ended up in Cleveland, though through the past couple of days it really seemed like it was going that way.
Yeah. Yo, I'm not surprised at all. I've been saying for a year that there's only one other place he would go. But my reasoning had nothing to do with basketball. I'm just a conspiracy theorist that believes every conspiracy. And I thought the league was going to fix it, so he went back to Cleveland. There'd be a nice Disney movie about him coming home and winning a championship. So I've been saying this, but partially a joke. But I'm not surprised.
Yeah, the opt-out part for me was
you're right.
I definitely knew that the opt-out was coming.
B. Austin, I'm saying I'm right, but I'm saying I'm right for probably all the wrong reasons.
All right, well, now that proverbial boot has dropped, all the other dominoes will fall into place. We got another little shocker after LeBron's announcement was made because everybody thought that it was a done deal, that, Bosh was so much of LeBron's lapdog that as soon as LeBron said that he wasn't going to come back to Miami, that Bosh was going to go ahead and take his Plan B deal with the Houston Rockets. But Miami, not having to pay LeBron James, swooped in with an even better offer, and they have an agreement on the table to pay Bosh 5 years, $115 million? Or
I think it's 118.
$118 million. I'm sorry. Yeah, 5 years for $118 million. Like, I mean, we knew Bosh, by league stipulations 4 years ago, was a max player, but this is a hefty contract for Bosh. What do you guys think about this offer, this agreement, and where does that leave Dwayne Wade, and the whole
I would like to start just because I think I think any man knows that you always need to admit when you're wrong, and if you don't, you're just stubborn and stupid. I want to admit I'm wrong. Chris Bosh, I apologize. I didn't realize you were playing chess while everybody else was playing checkers. Shout out to LeBron because I'm on my Jimmy Williams conspiracy theory, and I think LeBron told Chris Bosh the whole time he was going to Cleveland, and Chris Bosh was trying to strong arm Miami by saying, all right, I got this max deal on the table from the Rockets, so you guys are going to have to give me more than that. And I think that's exactly what happened. And Chris, this is like the end of Chris Bosh right now. It's like the end of the heist movie. You know, like all the heist movies when like it looks like everything's just going down and everything's going to fail, and all of a sudden like everybody gets together at the end, everybody's got the money, and they pulled off the job. That's LeBron and Chris Bosh right now. Like they pulled the whole job off.
Ocean's 3.
Oh,
Danny Ocean.
So basically, Frank, the only loser in this is Dwayne Wade. Well,
Yeah,
so
Dwayne
far
Wade,
we haven't
didn't
seen
get the memo,
what his
and
deal is going to be.
I just want to shout out LeBron really quick. I watched Pinky the Brain all those years as a kid, and I just needed to watch LeBron to see how to take over the world because that's what he did today.
I think this though, in terms of the Chris Bosh thing, it is a major move, and I think that it'll benefit Bosh not having LeBron there from a personal standpoint. I don't know about how much success the team will have. It all depends upon what other moves they make, but people forget how good Bosh was. I know Dev was like the biggest Bosh fan there is. Like, I knew he had game, but Dev used to really rave about him. And
Book it.
Now he'll have an opportunity to show that he's a well-rounded player as opposed to someone who just stands around and jacks up threes. You know what I'm saying? So, and now he's getting the max money too, so he wins. Like Dev said, we see what happens to D Wade. I can't see him going anywhere, but he blew a lot of chicken.
Yeah.
22, 11, 2.8, 1-1. Book it. All-star. He's going to the Hall. He's going to ball out over the next 3 years. Now, towards the end of that contract, he's going to be more into his Liberace, and he's going to be more in touch with himself, and he'll probably follow the route that Jason Collins set. But for the next 3 years, I'm rooting for Christina Bosh to give them hell and show all of these people that were doubters, that were hating on them, that were putting all of these memes up. The memes were funny. We did participate. But
he had a lot to do with that. He used to troll himself. There's no way that he didn't intentionally.
Oh, yeah. No, he definitely did. He likes being the oddball. But Chris Bosh got game, man. He has game, and he's about to show. He's about to show out. First of all, he's got great footwork that everybody has forgotten because he only goes in the post 3 times a season. He can go left. He can go right. Yo, he can stretch out to the 3-point line. Yo, my man is about. I'm telling you, watch. Chris Bosh about to earn at least 75% of that contract.
He the Black Dirk.
I forgot who we were talking about for a minute. I thought we were talking about MJ or something. But, no, I haven't even looked. I hadn't even looked at it from Frank's perspective, and now that I am, I think even though, like Jimmy said, I've been a Bosh semi-supporter, at least a Bosh defender for all these years. I think I might owe him a little apology as well because I've definitely been slamming him the last few days because it seemed like his whole free agency stint was about what LeBron was going to do, and I love Miami so much, but I'm going to leave Miami because I can't play with Bron anymore. And yeah, I do think he probably was playing us and playing the Miami Heat the whole time, just getting leverage from the Houston Rockets, who are now in a bad position as well. Even though they haven't lost Chandler Parsons yet because of the 3 days they had to match the contract offer from Dallas. But yeah, I just think because we kept hearing reports of how Chris Bosh was just over in Africa chilling, posting photos of his vacation and everything. So you're thinking if he's going through all of this and this is a stressful time, I even heard radio hosts questioning why he was vacationing at a time like this. Is because he had it all under control.
Yo,
it's like the
movie Fresh, man. It's like the movie Fresh. At the end, he walks away. He got the bag of money. He won.
Yeah, shout out to him.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Fresh. I was thinking of Fresh, too.
Yo, Fresh is that work, yo. Most underrated movie, by the way. Yo, Fresh is that work. But, he got a big bag of money, 2 championships. So, at this point, like Bosh isn't one of these guys who's like, you know, in LeBron's shoes where he's like basically chasing ghosts. Bosh is a great player. You know, he's never going to be an all-time great. So he's already won 2 championships. Now he's about to make as much money as humanly possible, live in Miami, and enjoy the rest of his life.
Yeah, I think the biggest loser besides Dwayne Wade, I think, in this whole thing is the Houston Rockets. Like, yo, Daryl Morey, yo, you got played. Like, yo, Chris Bosh put the ring on it. He told you he was going to marry you. He smashed, and then he dashed, man. He was out. He was gone before you could even, like, you woke up in the morning to a letter that just said, thanks for the good times, and then he was just gone.
This entire paradigm shift has become hilarious to me. Shout out to Michael Jordan for making athletes aware of their worth, because now, yo, they're like basically manipulating teams to get bigger deals. They're writing their own tickets. Athletes are doing what they want to do. I mean, it's to the point now where the contracts don't even matter. You have guys getting out of situations and going to wherever they want to go play. Like,
if I can't write an opt-out clause into my contract, I'm just gonna strong arm them and stick them up.
Yo, Cats is literally these days like, yo, I want to play here. Shut them up.
Chandler Parsons, if they let Chandler get away, they are some dum-dums. Because as good as James Harden is on the offensive side of the ball, and as talented as the female center that they have playing for them is, yo, Chandler Parsons is the engine to that team, man.
And I fully agree, B. Austin, but like the reason why the Houston Rockets are the biggest losers is because their biggest move in the offseason is going to be paying Chandler Parsons $15 million when they could have had him for at his rookie deal still, but they renounced his rights so they could go after all these people. So now they're going to have to give Chandler Parsons like 15 times more than he was going to make because they're idiots. They got played.
Morey himself. All right, but look, we got to go back to the king, of course. The whole LeBron James, Dan Gilbert dynamic. We got to talk about that for a minute. We all know the story 4 years ago after LeBron left. Dan Gilbert wrote the very, very public letter, really just disrespecting LeBron, taking him to the woodshed for leaving Cleveland and for leaving the way he did. There was, a lot of mixed opinions on that back then, but a lot of people jumped to LeBron's defense because Dan Gilbert was flat out wrong. And before we even get into this dialogue, let me add that this letter was still up on the Cleveland Cavaliers website until about 3-4 days ago when they realized that they were seriously in the mix to get him back. So when we talk about apologies and burying the hatchet, just keep that little tidbit in the back of your mind. Let me, from you guys' perspective, is there any way, if you're in LeBron James' shoes, that you could ever go back and play for a guy like that?
First of all, I would like to acknowledge that there's a strong possibility that I'll never be in LeBron James' shoes.
Strong.
An outside chance.
You want to put a percentage on it like everybody does these days?
I'm gonna say there's probably 1% chance that I don't end up anywhere near LeBron James' shoes. But if my boss, let's be clear here. If my boss calls me a coward, if my boss undermines my character, if my boss disrespects me in public, if my boss instructs the organization that he owns or works within to undermine my character and disrespect me and set the tone for the general public that they hold sway and influence over, which would be the Cleveland fans, to disrespect me, question my character, and basically shit on me, then I don't think it's possible for me to work for that organization again. Now, turn the other cheek, some would say, that's fine. I can turn the other cheek without poking my cheek out there for you to knock my head off. I'm going to just turn my cheek and walk slowly away, and we don't have to do business anymore because there's no amount of money that you can pay me to look like a step and fetch it by coming back to work for you. Like, that's not going to happen. And somebody in the position of a LeBron James who basically controls their own destiny, their own economic destiny, their own financial, future, complete autonomy where those things are concerned, he can play for any of the 30 teams in the NBA at his whim. And so to basically go back to working for someone who disrespected you completely, to me, that's selling yourself out. That's selling yourself out. Now, I'm going to speak directly to the black people that are a part of our contingent of viewers. I don't know if you personally took this approach as a viewer or fan of the game or whatever, but there's a large portion of black people that pulled the race card in this situation and claimed that Dan Gilbert was behaving as a slave master or slave driver. They said that he was just threatened and incensed at the fact that a young, rich, intelligent, articulate African-American male was flexing his financial money and understood his value in the marketplace, and that Dan Gilbert, as a quote-unquote slave owner, was threatened by that and threw a temper tantrum, which I'll be the first to say, I didn't see Dan Gilbert say anything racist, so he doesn't fall into the Donald Sterling category, but there are certain folks in the black community that felt that there were some racial undertones or undercurrents in the way that Dan Gilbert was behaving. A lot of these same, not all of these same, but a lot of these same people are defending LeBron for going back to that situation and working for someone who they said was a slave master or slave driver. So if you're going to use that analogy, then basically you're applauding this gentleman for going back to the plantation and putting the chains on and picking cotton. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. If you had a problem with the dude, you can't excuse him. Don't be fooled by the letter. And he's doing it for his family, and he's doing it for the fans of Cleveland. The fans of Cleveland don't even F with you, homie.
Hold up.
They burning your jersey.
The fans of Cleveland, B. Austin, have shown you the epitome of the saying, there's a thin line between love and hate, because the same fans of Cleveland that you're going home to, that, like you said, they're the same fans who were burning your jerseys in the street and disrespecting you just as much, if not more, than Dan Gilbert was. So, people can miss me with all the, his letter was heartfelt and home is more important. I mean,
with all that.
Look, home was not that important when, he bolted from home 4 years ago. And you can say 4 years later he's more mature. I can give you that to a certain extent, but with LeBron, we kind of know that that's not the case. LeBron left so he could, further his legacy with some rings. I got my rings. It looked like that situation's fizzled out. Let's go back home, see what they can build. Maybe I'll get some more rings, maybe I won't, but at the same time, I'll be appeasing all of these people that I let down. LeBron's a pleaser. We know that. And that's not necessarily a terrible trait, but it's not what they're going to put out there to you. They're going to make it look more heroic rather than, he just doesn't like to be disliked.
Real quick, Dev, and I definitely want to hear, Frank, I want to hear your thoughts, and Jimmy, I think I know where you'll go with it, but I want to hear, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, John Carlos, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Eldridge Cleaver, Stokely Carmichael. None of these gentlemen, if they felt they were being disrespected by a white man and it came from a racist place, whether they were accepting of the apology or not, they would never go back to that institution to be under thumb as an employee, no matter how much money was on the table or at stake. So if we're going to cry the race card, and we're going to cry that there's racism, and we're going to cry that those things were a part of the fabric of that relationship and it going sour, then you cannot reward this man or pat him on the back for going back to what you say was the plantation. Now, understand my perspective. I don't think Dan Gilbert was being racist. I just think he's a petulant child as an owner, and he was just upset because he wasn't getting his way. I don't think there was any racism motivating him. But there are a ton of black folks that felt that way, and these are the same people that I see patting LeBron on the back. We can't have a double standard for athletes just because you like the way they dunk a basketball. Like, there can't be that double standard.
But you already know the dynamic of most sports fans and the way they think. A lot of sports fans are emotional. If you like someone, then every double standard in the book, it applies in their favor. If this is somebody that you don't like, everything they're patting LeBron on the back for right now, if this is a player that you don't like, you're going to call him all kinds of sellouts and every other name in the book. But you understand.
Still hating on Kobe for not playing for Charlotte.
So you understand this dynamic. So it's not surprising. I'm not saying just because we understand it that we have to accept it. But you're exactly right in the fact that there were so many people who brought race into it, you know what I'm saying, said the whole slave master thing. And I can see where they were coming from, to a certain extent. So, but I'm just like, now, like you said, the same exact people are sitting here, oh, LeBron, home is more important than any owner and this and that. But come on, man. I don't see it.
I mean, personally, I think.
Go ahead, Frank.
For me, it's
personally,
not.
I think seems like more than the two of you guys. I kind of believe the letter a little more what LeBron wrote than I think you guys do. I mean, I think to an extent it was an angle that his people came up with that, like, if we're going to sell this is how we're going to sell it to a degree. And I think part of that was in the letter as well. And I don't think it was an accident that LeBron announced his comeback with a letter the same way Dan Gilbert wrote a letter to him. I don't think that was any mistake at all. I think that was a little passive-aggressive, sort of like a backhanded we're even kind of thing in, sort of situation there. But, I mean, from what we've seen with LeBron, and Dev brought this up a little bit, he is a people pleaser. And I still think as soon as he left Cleveland and saw the way that the decision went, I think even all 4 years in Miami, he was still hurt about what happened, like the way it ended in Cleveland and fans burning his jerseys. Like, I think a lot of people wouldn't care about that, but I honestly do believe that LeBron, like, it really, like, hurt him emotionally. Like, it seems like he's that kind of dude where it really, like, got to him. But in the end, I think, and I think Jimmy's probably going to bring this up too, it was a business decision. I think when he went to Miami, it was a business decision, and I think coming back here, it was a business decision. And I mean, if you're going to, I agree with B. Austin that if you do think that there was racial undertones to what Dan Gilbert was saying, there's no way you can defend LeBron coming back. But if LeBron didn't ever feel that way, and I didn't feel that way personally, and I just thought like B. Austin, I just thought Dan Gilbert was just an immature child who wasn't used to not getting his way, and basically just lashed out like a child would and threw a temper tantrum.
Well, Frank, that's why I can't believe every single thing in the letter, because I think I agree with you that, this was a business decision. Somebody I was talking to earlier, a friend of ours, shout out to Glenn, we were talking and he was saying how everything LeBron does is a PR move. And that made a lot of sense to me. But this letter, the point of the letter was to tell us that this was the farthest thing in the world from a business decision. This is supposed to be an emotional decision. This is about home. This is about family. This is about, people that I let down. And, I understand that to a certain extent, but, I mean, Jimmy knows me. I'm a little, skeptical when it comes to athletes and what they say, because I know everything they do is well crafted. I think the letter was, very well crafted. And I'm not saying that there aren't parts of the letter that I can't get behind and believe, but then, I also think there's certain parts where this is what he was supposed to write. This is what he's supposed to say,
I mean, I don't for one second believe that LeBron wrote that letter. If you and
Dan Gilbert have this cloud hanging over you, this letter has to be all about, well, I'm coming home and doing it for my community. He can't say I'm coming back to play for Dan Gilbert.
I mean, I can almost say with 100% certainty that LeBron did not sit there and write that letter. He stood in a room with 20 people, and they sat like political strategists, and they tried to pick every word and pick every sentence and see what phrase fit. It was like a presidential speech. You know what I mean?
All right, well, let me chime in for a second. Let me chime in for a second to give my perspective. And shout out to you, Frank, because you pointed something out to me. I think it was yesterday, and I looked at it, and I was like, wow. When you go to LeBron James' website, he describes himself. The last thing he says is athlete. The first thing on there says business person, like businessman rather. That's the first way he describes himself. So, do I think it was a business decision? Absolutely. In terms of what my brother B. Austin said about Dan Gilbert, and I'm not saying Dan Gilbert isn't a white supremacist, because I think a little bit of that is true. But at the end of the day, right, and you talk about a lot of, our older brothers and how they would have reacted to this. To further their cause, I think they would. I mean, fact of the matter is, there's factual proof that they would have. I mean, and if you look at it from a deeper perspective, right, it all depends upon what you want to do, what your goal is. I mean, I've seen the U.S. partner with Russia in the war and then go to war with Russia. It all depends upon what their goal is and what they're trying to accomplish, right? So I don't know whether the letter was completely factual or not, but I do look at this entire move as a business decision. I think Dan Gilbert was a butthurt man when everything happened, and he lashed out. But I do understand the undertones of, some of the things he said in the letter of the whole white supremacist thing. Now, I do also believe that people can make mistakes and grow. I think that LeBron has grown a lot and realized a lot of things. I do believe that, and you can tell just from his interviews and the way he handles himself as opposed to how he did then.
I believe that.
Fact of the matter is, LeBron James has been in a fishbowl since he was, 15? There's never been anyone like this. So he's kind of like grown in front of us, pause, and he's become a man, and I guess now he realized what's important. Now, I'm not buying into that whole narrative, but I do understand how this can work in his favor in terms of the team that's in place in Cleveland, in terms of the ability to market him as the king coming home. I know Nike is licking their chops. They probably had so many meetings today. But I mean,
probably last week they've had.
Yeah. How about that?
Trying to get them to go back. Come on, bro.
And I also look at it like this, man. And I know you guys can probably relate to this, right? And say you're dealing with a young lady, and y'all have a bad breakup.
To the young ladies.
Yeah, because that always goes back to the young ladies. But anyway, if you're dealing with a young lady, right, and y'all have a bad breakup, both of y'all say things that you mean or you may not mean at the time, but then you think about how it can work in your favor, and you think about the moisture, and you end up back, so sometimes you got to take back things you said. It is what it is.
I understand that, and I understand the whole maturity thing. I give LeBron James the benefit of the doubt of the growth and maturity. I'm on his side with that. But let's go to the other side. What about Dan Gilbert? Dan Gilbert is just saying what he needs to say because his cash cow is coming back to Cleveland.
Oh, absolutely.
What about his growth? And and my whole thing, like when piggybacking off of Austin's whole diatribe, it wasn't necessarily about LeBron James. These guys are still young guys. Money is what they see first and foremost. I'm not going to sit here and really hold him 100% responsible for all this. I think, I don't want to speak for you, can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I think B. Austin's message, like mine is more so to the LeBron defenders who had a whole problem with Dan Gilbert. But I think the problem that everybody had with Dan Gilbert was it was more in defense because LeBron was under attack at the time for leaving Cleveland, for teaming up and everything. So Dan Gilbert's letter comes out, and everybody jumps on that because they want to further give us evidence of why he doesn't need to be in Cleveland.
Well,
that's what I'm talking about.
Here's the thing,
now that he's going back to Cleveland, people are glossing over that like it never happened.
But you're talking about people that would make any excuse because it's sort of like what you said. That's the reason. I mean, it's no way that these people don't think rational. I mean, because when they like someone, they ride for them. It's sort of like wrestling, yo. If you like a wrestler, like you're a little kid, no matter what they do, and this is what sports has kind of become.
Slap your mama, you make an excuse.
I mean, people make
mama
excuses.
Did wrong.
People make excuses for Michael Jordan. I mean, he's been taking advantage of kids in third world countries for a couple of decades, but they don't care because it's Mike. They'll make every excuse in the book for him.
That's true. People definitely make excuses for that. I think that there's a couple of things that you said that I would say. First of all, Dev, you're definitely right. It wasn't an attack on LeBron. In this situation, I just feel like we're forced as members of the media to over-examine LeBron James because he is the single sole thing that moves the needle in NBA basketball right now. So we're over-examining this. And you're right. He is a businessman and a brand first before he is a basketball player. And I think that this whole nice guy thing, it has to be even more calculated today than it was in Michael Jordan's day, which wasn't that long ago, or even Kobe's day. It's like because we are under such a microscope with our celebrities and athletes and personalities today. LeBron literally has a 5, 10, 15, 20-person team that handles his image and his PR. And so this story that is being told, this part of the narrative, his return like the prodigal son, it resonates with people. It resonates with people. It's sellable. It's marketable. This is all calculated. The decision to go back to Cleveland, the Cavaliers were probably the last people to even know about it. His team came up with it. He said he was cool. They understand his psychology and understand even his pathology as a person, like what his weaknesses are. He is a pleaser. All right, LeBron, you want to please the people of Cleveland. You feel some twinge in your conscience about how it went down. Here's how we can leverage that to make it a profitable situation for you and add it into the growth of your brand. You're returning to the place where you started. You're giving back to the community. Nike gets to sell that. Gatorade gets to sell that. Now, guess what? The Cavaliers, you're the last beneficiary of it. You get to sell it. You get to sell it as well. And guess what, LeBron? Now you're happy because you get to please those that while you're alone in your mansion in Miami, you still have a twinge of conscience because of the way you left things in Cleveland and you didn't understand that people were going to react that way. So I get all that. I get that part. I get that part completely. And I don't have a problem with LeBron, man. I know we take shots at him. I take shots at him. But really it's more his fans, the condition of sports and society in general and its reactions or overreactions to these athletes and the way things happen. I mean, racism is a serious claim. It's a serious charge to level against people. And there's a large contingent of his supporters that really went apeshit on Dan Gilbert, on the fans of Cleveland, who overreacted, who acted crazy and way out of pocket. But now those same people have calmed down completely, and they're just like, it's okay if he sold himself out. It's not even selling out for him to do that.
Well, hold on. Let me say one thing. I just want to say this, though. The one thing I do look at different than B. Austin is when you talk about an NBA player and the owner, I don't look at it as being an employee relationship. I look at it as being business
partnership.
I definitely look at it as being a partnership because I've been in both relationships in terms of being. Excuse me?
Kevin Ollie is somebody's partner?
Kevin Ollie is somebody's partner on a lower level. But the reason I say that is because I've been in both relationships as an employee, as an employer, as a business partner, and there's certain things you can do when you're a business partner that you can't do as an employee. But that's either here nor there. I'm not going to get into that distinction right now. But I think that's why I look at this a little different, right? I buy rental properties. I rent properties. Anybody look for property in Philadelphia, holla at me. I got some apartments to rent. But the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, right, one of the banks that I do a lot of business with is Wells Fargo. Shout out to Wells Fargo for giving me the capital I need to build my my organization. But what I'm saying is, if you do the research, go back in the day, Wells Fargo
commercial ass.
No, what I'm saying is this, though. Listen, hear me out real quick. Wells Fargo built their capital on slave labor, if you do the history. It is what it is.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, I'm now using that same capital to kind of build my dreams, so to speak. But at the end of the day, we're business partners. But that doesn't make me a sellout. That doesn't make me a sellout.
There are other banks that you could use. And
listen, man.
When there's like 100 banks in the country.
Oh, man, that not giving me the credit line. Not giving me the credit line they are, but what I'm saying is
I'm not going to shamelessly promote who I am or what I do because y'all brothers know what it is. So you can't get away with that with me.
No, but listen to what I'm saying.
Use Wells Fargo. Just like I don't have to wear those nice Hugo Boss suits that I like.
Man, see, you're not listening to me.
Uniforms for the Nazis. They made uniforms for the Nazis. I know that.
Can I finish speaking, B?
I can't wear it.
We having a conversation and you're not going to be speaking what?
No, go ahead, brother. Tell them how you work for the slave master. You bank with him.
Work for the slave master? I don't work for anyone. What I'm saying is
bank with the slave master.
What I'm saying is they give me the best rates, the most money to be able to do what I want to do.
That's okay.
It's not about that. It's not about that. First of all, you have to talk about creditworthiness. We're not going to make this a whole thing on finance, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is in business relationships, sometimes you don't have to agree with, nor do you have to like your partner. And that's a fact. That's a fact. It's a great thing to be in a business relationship where you love your partners and everything's hunky-dory, but this is the real world. In capitalism, sometimes you will not like your business partner, but it's all about getting to where you have to get to in order to build your business. LeBron has always said he wants to be a billion-dollar athlete.
Difference is you spoke on how Wells Fargo gives you the best credit lines and all that kind of stuff. LeBron James has his run of the league. If LeBron James wants to go to any of the 30 teams in the NBA, any of the 30 teams will
All he got to do is call Adam Silver.
LeBron
No,
James.
this is true.
That's not what
This
it's
is
about,
true.
though. That's not what
With
it's
the,
about, though.
exception of about San Antonio, but it's not about when you look at everything
Except for maybe San
combined.
Antonio, they tell him FOH.
If you look at everything combined in terms of
They said take a pay cut.
that's in place,
Kawhi Leonard's
the
better.
team that's in place, the amount of revenue he can make.
In a roll.
Yeah, except for San Antonio. What I'm saying is this: if you look at everything that's in place from a basketball standpoint, from a business standpoint, this makes perfect sense. I understand LeBron can go anywhere he wants to. That must be an amazing feeling to basically, LeBron low key runs sports because he's hijacked everything. He broke Twitter, and think about this being unemployed, right? In your profession, you can kind of choose where you want to go to. That must be an amazing feeling. But with that being said, if you look at everything, excuse me.
I got that film.
Okay, maybe you do. You did say that you close to being LeBron anyway earlier. You still got a percentage that y'all in the same shoes. But what I'm saying is this, Dev. What I'm saying is, if you look at everything, from the team that's in place, this makes the perfect sense. Some will argue that Miami is just as good as a team, with what they have. But I don't know in terms of having young talent, in terms of the ability to market him going back home, in terms of what he means to Cleveland. I was watching CNN, and he hijacked CNN. How the hell did LeBron hijack CNN? But they were bringing it from a business perspective that the city of Cleveland will make $75 million, they said, at the low end, every year that he plays as a Cavalier. And they were interviewing some of the local businessmen, and they were happier than the Cavaliers fans because they knew the kind of revenue that would come based upon him being there. So this makes perfect sense for everybody. Everybody wins. I think Adam Silver has something to do with this because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't disagree with that. But I understand how you feel about the fans, though. But you made the best point before you started all this. They don't think rational nor talk rational anyway. So you really can't take anything they say. These are the same people who be Cavaliers fans. They're Cavaliers. 75%
of our viewers, Jimmy's shooting at y'all.
No, I'm really not. My thing is this, though. If you're honest with yourself and say, listen, I like LeBron, and no matter what he does is right, let's be honest with yourself. Then I wouldn't have a problem
with you. Just say that. Yeah.
Right.
To be honest, I respect honesty. If you're on the ball, if you're on his wood, just say you're on his wood. Be honest about being on his wood. To be honest,
I think Jimmy brought up a lot of. I think Jimmy brought up a lot of good points, and to me, it's not about Dan Gilbert at all. Yeah, it's not about Dan Gilbert at all because, that's the best point. You don't have to like who you're in business with, and I think, Dev, you said, he can go to all 30 teams, but again, like Jimmy said, it's not about the Cavaliers. It's about the marketing and what goes towards LeBron coming home and all the narrative we just spoke about in the last 20 minutes. It's about all of that. It's about how that profits and how that makes you a philanthropist and a billionaire and an entrepreneur and all that. And I think the one point I've been wanting to touch on for a while is what B. Austin said. He brought up all those great men, Muhammad Ali, etc. And I think this is where you see where LeBron differs from those people, and even the new era of athlete, because all those guys made sacrifice money and everything basically for their cause.
LeBron can do this. They did this so LeBron can show his ass.
That too, but LeBron's the priority is completely flip flop. Basically, LeBron's just looking what's going to get him the most forward. Where they were looking at, they didn't care whether they went forward or not in terms of popularity and
they had morals and values and character. And
that was their main priority. Whereas LeBron's main priority is being the best businessman.
I disagree with that too, B. Austin. I think that LeBron, and this is going to be getting way off base, but the fight is different now. The fight now is more about powernomics. It's not about those things that those guys fought so LeBron can do that. LeBron is putting himself in a position to kind of make change through economics, which is the only way to make change now.
See,
LeBron's putting himself in a position.
Let me say this though.
To own a team in 20 years and do what he wants.
Because Jimmy, you have definitely shown our viewers a tremendous business acumen and what you do and some of the more cliche things that you're saying. For example, I don't have to like my business partner. Those are things that we hear, and through the years we've gotten into. And it is real. It is. You don't have to like your business partners, but you do have to have a basic level of respect, honor, integrity, and character within business. I don't have to like you or get along with you to have those things.
But you only have to do that as a in your business relationship.
We have to have that as a businessman. We have to have that within the context of our business in order for a relationship to work. Not a transaction, but a relationship. So LeBron is looking, if you're calling him a partner, so let's take the employee tag off. He's a junior partner to Dan Gilbert's organization. Dan Gilbert went out of his way to disrespect this man publicly, continually disrespect him, instruct his organization to run an undercurrent of policy that disrespected him, and then influence their fan base to be disrespectful towards LeBron. So now it's not so much about like or dislike. There's plenty of superstar owner relationships where there wasn't like or dis. Not everybody was going to the Forum Club with Jerry Buss and doing, all types of freaky things to men, women, and animals. That relationship is a little bit.
I disagree. I
disagree as well.
I disagree because first off, if you talk about a working relationship,
a basic disregard for LeBron. So now it's not even about like or dislike.
Cleveland Cavaliers are his property, but if you look at how it's structured, he's more in the investor quadrant as opposed to being a business owner because, I mean, you have a GM in place, you have a president in place, you have a coach in place. So they don't really have a working relationship, so to speak. So it's not about that. I mean, if you look at people who are the investors or the money behind certain organizations, do you necessarily have to have, that sort of relationship with them to do business with the organization that they, for all intents and purposes,
I don't think they ever have to speak again. I still don't understand why LeBron can go back and make this man even more astronomically rich.
Because it's not about that.
It's about
making LeBron rich.
Definitely, to me, it's not about that. It's about power. As much as it is about business, part of it is power. LeBron, at this moment, is the most powerful man in Ohio. Just bottom line, even more powerful than Gilbert. Just by going back, by making a decision that he's the most powerful man in Ohio.
I completely agree. And you know what? To be honest, that was one thing. I mean, I think honestly I learned a lot from the whole Donald Sterling fiasco. I think it was a very eye-opening experience for me in general. But I think one thing I learned more than anything is like players and this generation, like they don't care who they play. They don't care about the owner. They don't. I mean, I think Chris Paul said he met Donald Sterling like twice. You know what I mean? Like they could care less. It's whatever is best for them as a person, them as their brand. They could care less. They could care less.
Frank, understand that. But if you're looking at it from that perspective, then I definitely can agree with you guys when you say those guys of the past did it so they can do this, because they weren't doing this so these guys could just hoard themselves out for money. That's not why they were doing the things that they were doing.
But it's not about money.
It's not about hoarding themselves out for money. It's about them building their own businesses.
The era of freedom that we have now that allows these players to move and operate the way they do, it's a byproduct of where society is, but it's not the intention of past people to open things up so that your money, your brand, and your personal, just you, becomes the priority. Because at almost every level, whether you're looking at the team concept, whether you're looking at business, whether you're looking at whatever, we've gotten away from a communal thing, or even just basic on a respect level. Or when we talk about competitive greatness, like dudes are in it they're in the game to advance their brand for their personal wealth. They're not in it because of a love of the game all the time. I'm not saying these guys don't love the game, but the priorities have shifted so far from what they once were that I can't say that.
Yeah, but a lot of the guys in the past that played the game felt the same way, and they've said as much. Even the guys you named that have fought, a lot of them did it as a means to an end. Even with Ali, it was never about competitive greatness. Ali looked at himself as being more than a boxer, and it said so on several occasions.
Jimmy, again, if you look at what I'm saying, he was still creating a platform for the greater good. So it still was about the greater good. It wasn't about self-promotion.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, do you know what LeBron James' end goal is with all this? I mean, let's say he reaches $1 billion. We don't know what his end goal is.
Right. His end goal might be to change.
I don't know his end goal. All I can do is interpret what I'm seeing within his actions and the context of larger society. So he doesn't really, to me, deviate from his peer group. Really, he's just the biggest, brash, and most famous of them all. But he's no real different than
yeah, I mean, what
else.
is he shown? What is he shown to do that? Because at the end of the day, man, let's keep it real. Like, you're talking about,
he's a social activist. I mean, he's about power to the people and positivity. He's just about.
But what I'm saying is, it might not be that way yet.
The thing about it is, maybe he does do that. That's calculated too. Like, you know, but what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this, man. The whole battle today, whether we're talking about, you know, socioeconomics, whether we're talking about, you know, athletes and their brands, it's all about capital. LeBron James is doing what he is doing to build up enough power and enough capital to do whatever his end goal is. Do I know what that is? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, I know that when you talk about someone who's an investor in a business, and you know that he was upset because his business got hurt by LeBron leaving. He said what he said. I don't look at him as some kind of being a sellout to do business with that man again, because if we look at companies that you do business with on a daily basis and you look at the capital behind it, there's all kinds of awful things said. I mean, there's some of our sponsors, shout out to all our sponsors, I love you, and I won't say that, but I know for a fact that are run by white supremacists. But at the end of the day, it's all about what you have to do to put yourself in a position to make a change. Now, Woven Sports loves the children, and we do make a change in the community, but let's keep it real. These are some of the things you have to do with when you're dealing in business in the United States of America with 3 Ks.
No, I don't.
You have to coexist with people you don't necessarily agree with.
I don't believe you have to compromise yourself.
It's not about being. It's not. But I don't consider it compromising yourself. Be honest, I just don't.
That's your choice. And one could also say the message given is LeBron can take a smack to the face, take another smack to the face, take disrespect, write a nice letter, and get a huge check, and he's going to go back and do business with someone who's going to be disrespectful towards him, his brand.
No, see, the
thing is, B. Austin, is you keep talking about money. I don't think LeBron is trying to be rich, and I think he's trying to be wealthy. I think he's trying to basically build something that's sustainable for generations. That's something like a mogul, a corporation that his children's children can basically live off of.
So the only way he could do this is to go back to Cleveland? And then
no. But I think it furthers
we just sat here and praised the hell out of him for how much power he has in sports, in the league. I don't think he's limited in doing that by going anywhere besides Cleveland.
No, but I think that it helps. I think that the narrative, like being told, which is why I was joking and saying it, that I always said he was going back to Cleveland, because from a financial standpoint, I think this helps the most from all the marketing dollars. Also, just his power within that community. I mean, he mentioned in the letter.
I'm confused because y'all keep agreeing with each other, but are we talking about money or are we not talking about money? Because I keep hearing.
To me, it's about money and power. Like I know, like sometimes they intertwine and sometimes they don't. But I think it's about money and power, and also him like furthering his cause, whatever that may be. He mentioned in the letter about doing things for the community and inspiring people within the community to come back to do for that community. Mm-hmm. So it's about power, but it's also about money. But what I'm saying is, I don't think his relationship with that. But I also wasn't one of the people you were talking about who said those things about Dan Gilbert when he wrote it.
I was addressing those guys.
It's a little different. Like I wasn't one of those guys, because I understand at the end of the day when you do business. All I'm saying, I know B. Austin disagreed. He says you sell out, yada, yada, yada. But I guarantee you that if you look at all the people that you do business with and you start doing the research, there's some nasty things you will find, because we live in the United States of America.
That's just the bottom line.
I understand.
That's just the pros and cons.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But for the people, at least, speaking for myself, for the people that I was addressing, you just gave them a whole lot of ammunition to shake their heads and act like they agree with you.
I mean, but the
knowing
thing about
that's
it is,
not
I'm coming
what the
from
hell
a whole different standpoint.
That's what I'm saying, because you didn't even have the perspective that they had in the first place. So where you're coming from is where you've always been coming from. But these will be the same people. These will be the same people who hold up, B. Austin. These will be the same people who said Dan Gilbert and the Cleveland Cavaliers and their fans, they're going to deserve everything they get from now on. Is this what they deserve? They deserve for the greatest player in the world to come back? Is that what they, but now, they'll watch this video. They'll watch what you and Frank said. They'll shake their head and nod and act like they agree with you guys. But you guys have always come from that perspective. You guys weren't the people saying, Dan Gilbert this, Dan Gilbert that.
No, I definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
See, my whole thing is this, though, and the people that you're addressing,
I just need them to understand that.
I would rather them just admit the fact that, listen, they love LeBron the way they do. There's certain athletes in my life, like, you just can't say anything bad about. I know B. Austin has his athletes such as AI. Like, there's nothing you can say bad about him, although there are things you can say.
Bad stuff. I'm more objective.
But you ain't trying to hear it.
I'm more objective than you. You can say bad stuff about
AI. Look like his braids stink.
Yeah, he looked like he smelled like he looked like he smelled like
no, but what I'm saying. But what I'm saying
is
this though, you will defend him to no end because of how you feel about him as a player. All I'm saying is, it seems like the LeBron fans want it both ways. They want to love LeBron to no end, but they don't want to admit that's what they're doing. Yet these are the people that'll be Cavaliers fans, although they were just Heat fans. Hashtag Heat Nation. I haven't seen that all day, but. I'm just saying. So, but the thing is, I'd rather you admit it. If you tell me, like, I've had people straight tell me, like, yo, I like LeBron. I'm not even I'm not a Cavs fan. I'm not a Heat fan. I'm a LeBron fan.
And I respect those people too. And then on your comment directed towards me on the yada 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 tip, it's not about bad things happening in business. We all know that bad things happen behind the scene. I'm speaking specifically to the disrespect and dishonor of my person from someone I'm doing business with. Not bad. Hell, you could chop up babies and use baby parts to make sneakers. I mean, and I find out about it, but that ain't disrespecting me and my I have a choice.
No, but be Austin, but some people do business with people that's out front.
This dude doing business with a cat that called him a coward in public and promoted that.
To be honest, Austin,
left the letter up for 4 years.
This is gonna be my final point about it. To be honest, Austin, I can't speak for LeBron, obviously, but me personally, if I don't respect Dan Gilbert in the first place, I can give a shit what he says about me after I leave or
talk to him.
At the end of the day, if me having a relationship with you is gonna be beneficial for me, and I don't even care about you regardless of of who you are because I don't respect you anyways, then I'm just going to be looking at it from my perspective, the benefit I'm going to get out of it. And then if you happen to get a benefit out of the situation as well, then fine. But I'm not going to go out of my way to help you benefit from it. I'm more so looking at my benefit.
Yo, and shout out to the people that wear Gucci and Tommy and who do business with them, although that stuff's out in the public too. I'm just saying it happens, man.
Go read it. Go read up on it.
All right, last thing, and we got to do this quickly.
Jeremy Lin.
Video going to be like 90 minutes long.
I want to hear that, man. Jeremy Lin is a Laker now, man. We got our big time.
It's going to be like 90 minutes long, but it is about LeBron, so people will watch. The team, Cleveland Cavaliers, what's going on with them? If I'm not mistaken, they haven't signed Andrew Wiggins yet, have they?
No, and from all accounts, I know that people think that he was going to get traded. As of right now, they were saying that they don't want to trade him.
No, right. I mean he's playing in summer league right now, so I doubt they would probably let him play if they were.
I thought he wasn't, because if they didn't sign him, then he couldn't play in this.
I know. I don't know whether they signed him or not then, because I know for a fact he was playing today.
Okay. So they must have signed. I don't know.
Anyway, okay, they got the young guy. They got Kyrie locked up. You got LeBron. You still got cats like Varejao, Tristan Thompson. A lot of rumors about them making a move for Kevin Love because of the leverage and the dominoes that are falling. What do you think in the Eastern Conference this team, can do with the roster that they currently have constructed, and especially if they make the move that everybody keeps rumoring right now?
Yo, I'm laughing because you said in the Eastern Conference, you specified that, and that's for a reason because it's kind of doo-doo over there. They definitely are in the playoffs. I mean, barring injury, they're in the playoffs. How far they can go, once you get in the playoffs, is a crapshoot anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. And again, if you've been watching this video, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Against Miami, with a healthy D. Wade and Bosh, there's your Eastern Conference Finals. And it's going to be off the chain. I also see them playing on the Christmas Day game is probably being set right now. Shout out to Adam Silver pulling the strings. But I could see that because, they have talent. They have four number one picks on one team. I don't think there's no way that ever happened before.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Can I just say that?
The Lakers have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Might have happened in Philly a couple times.
If Dwayne Wade
had a bunch of them dudes coming.
If Dwayne Wade has any of the things left in the tank that made Devin McMillan a fan of Dwayne Wade about 7 years ago, he's going to hit the weight room and train as hard as he possibly can and come in with a vengeance in his heart and mind. If he's got Kevin Garnett type blood flowing, if he's got Paul Pierce,
LeBron lackey.
Damn.
He's going to get back. He's going to gain another
That's what
10
he's
pounds.
running into now?
Remember when LeBron was coming to D-Wade's team? Now D-Wade's just like,
Now it's like he wake up
turned
with
it.
chips on
He
LeBron.
turned it. Dwayne Wade wasn't wearing tight clothes before LeBron.
brainwashed.
LeBron made D Wade his bitch, and he started wearing clothes to match. So I like Biel said, you should be a big Dwayne Wade fan, but I don't know.
I mean, honestly,
sideways heading like. Really?
I honestly think it all depends on Melo, as funny as that sounds, because I think if Melo ends up on the Bulls, I think they're the favorite. But if not, I think the Cavaliers are the best team in the East. I mean, I don't think the Pacers. I honestly do. I don't think
the Pacers are going to lose Lance more than likely.
The Pacers are going to lose Lance, and I don't even know what's going on with that team after last year. I don't trust them at all. And I mean, the Wizards, do we really think the Wizards? I mean, I like the Wizards, don't get me wrong. Not trashing the Wizards, but I'm just saying, like, do we really think that they're better than a LeBron and Kyrie-led team? I don't. I honestly think it's all about Melo. If Melo goes to the Bulls, I think the Bulls are the favorite. If not, I think the Cavs are the favorite.
And Frank's Brooklyn squad about to pay like $90 million in lucky.
Yeah, they might have a shot. Real talk, Dev. I've been thinking that the whole time. I'm like, we might have a shot.
My question is, what does Melo do now? All the chips that fall with everybody else. Like, what does Melo do? Does he go to the Bulls, or does he just stay pat with the Knicks?
Jimmy, you'll appreciate this. My man Melo's gonna look back and he's gonna channel his inner Tone Montana. He's gonna say, "I was doing this for money. I was doing this for now they cutting checks.
Now they cutting checks.
I say Melo forced Wade to make $2 million a year and go to the Heat. But no, if he did that, you know how much pressure would be on Melo? All right, he just essentially just taking LeBron's place. We're going to show you how much, Melo's not a superstar because he's not going to be able to do what that team that LeBron did, and he probably won't. So, Melo did say recently that it's still between the Knicks and the Bulls. So the Bulls still have a chance, in this whole thing. That might all come down to whether or not he trusts Derrick Rose to ever get back on the basketball court.
Who's that?
Melo going over there and join a gang. He's going to be 400.
But yeah, that's a dangerous city to go to right now. But as far as the Cavs go, they have a nice young nucleus. LeBron, like he said, he is like the old head on the team now. So his role will be completely different. Before he was superstar. I mean, he was a captain because he was the best player. But now that captaincy will mean a whole lot more because he's the elder statesman. He's going to have to round up these young dudes and teach them how to play championship ball and what have you. But, yeah, in the East, they're a contender. And they're going to make a move. Anthony Bennett lost some weight. I saw him in Summer League. I was like, okay, look at him. He trying. Yeah, he's going to get his smash on.
My favorite part of the letter, though, was shout out to LeBron for low-key trying to act like they won't be the favorites next year. Like, yeah, we're not going to win next year. Yo, LeBron, what are you kidding, LeBron? You need to chill.
Frank, I was going to mention that, and the same people we addressed earlier in the video, they're already giving him that excuse.
Listen, man, you guys know the adage, man. Under-promise and over-deliver, man. That's what you teach.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
But Jim, we understand that, though. And when LeBron wrote that, I knew exactly what he was doing.
Because he learned his lesson. Last time, he over-promised and under-delivered. Not one, not two.
Everything he says, and what they're going to say now because he's not going to a stacked team, blah, blah, blah. First of all, LeBron's not signing there if he doesn't know that they're about to make a move to get somebody else in there. And he has, Kyrie Irving, who everybody was sweating. He made a couple. Time out. He made a couple of fancy moves in a rookie sophomore game, and he became the best point guard in the world. But now that LeBron's there, you always have to knock everybody else down a notch to make LeBron look better, and that's not necessary. LeBron's the best player in basketball on his own. So stop with the excuses because the Cavs in the Eastern Conference have a very nice shot to represent the East in the finals. I'm not trying to hit that.
That's more proof that he understands and he's grown as a person because, before he overpromised, underdelivered. Now he's taking the opposite approach. He's going to underpromise and overdeliver,
The team got it. Yeah, exactly.
I'm about to say, his team grew. Like, we can't go that route this time, dog.
The PR team was on top of that.
All right, so that's it in a nutshell. It's going to be.
Don't accept LeBron's PR team. It's
going to be interesting. Cleveland has made it back onto the TNT in the ABC schedule. So shout out to them.
Deion Waiter's gonna be gunning.
Miami
PSP,
will
Miami
will still be on there.
All about you, baby.
He's gonna be gunning in Minnesota.
Bosch now is going to be in Toronto South because he's finally going to get the opportunity to be the old Bosch. Whether or not he still has it, we're about to find out real fast.
And he's the highest paid player in the league next year. Him and Kobe.
Bosch.
That's why we have
Hold up. Is that accurate though? Does that make him the highest paid league?
That's 100% accurate. Him and Kobe are making $23.5 million next year.
Yo, he came up. All the trash we talk, and he's Fresh. Frank, go watch Fresh, baby.
I know. I've seen it.
Did Pat Riley make an angry, emotional deal? Did he do a Dan Gilbert just now?
Yo, he hustled. Chris Bosh hustled everybody.
Yo.
And they were all in cahoots.
Along.
They were all in cahoots, like LeBron.
Chris Bosh. My bad, dog. My bad.
Yeah.
Get your money, little duffel bag boy.
He was playing chess.
Little duffel bag.
Get your money.
Yo, we didn't know it. We didn't know it at the time, but Chris Bosh was playing chess. He was playing chess. Everybody else was playing checkers.
Yo, he's the highest paid player in the league. Yo.
All right, everybody.
End of the heist movie. I'm telling you, it's the end of the heist movie.
Joanna, man.
If you've made it to this point with us in this long ass video, then salute to you. We love you guys out there. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are probably cursing at least me and B. Austin because we were trying to be as objective as possible about LeBron. People don't like that. Listen, we're gonna see where the rest of the dominoes fall. We're waiting on Carmelo to make his announcement to see where he's gonna go. But like I said, it should be a very interesting NBA season in the least. Again, we thank you guys for being here with us. Check out Sports-Kings and see what Frank and all the guys over there have to offer. Check out warroomsports.com, WRSPN.com for the podcast network, and get that mobile app. But like we tell you guys all the time, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
See you chumps on top.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.